Breaking news from NNT on the federal felony indictment filed against Dominion Attorney General Fiona Hale. Two sources tell us that the National Attorney General, Mara Kincaid, was blindsided by the indictment. Let's go live to NNT senior correspondent Carissa Holt. Carissa, what are your sources telling you? Yeah, and this comes after earlier reporting from NNT indicating that both the Attorney General and her deputy had been uneasy about pursuing charges against Hale because of information they received from Alan Sarl, who at that time was the U.S. prosecutor in the Eastern Dominion Circuit, though he's since stepped down. Halwell, of course, handpicked by President Corvin Strickland, was appointed to run that circuit, and we're told Halwell did not coordinate any of this with the Central Justice Directorate. That's why top officials, including Kincaid herself, were thrown completely off guard. There had been vague suggestions that Halwell might move forward with a case, but no concrete details were ever shared. So when he actually secured an indictment against Hale, the entire senior leadership was stunned. Okay. So we need to talk about what just happened to Mara Kincaid, because this is genuinely one of the most stunning internal meltdowns we've witnessed from inside the Strickland administration. And honestly, it rewrites everything we thought we understood about what's unfolding in Capitol Plaza right now. Come on, are you kidding me? The Attorney General of the United States, the nation's supposed top enforcer of the law, the person entrusted with preserving the Constitution and ensuring equal justice for all, just got obliterated in federal court. And the judge didn't hold back even a little. We're talking multiple federal judges here, judges who've clearly had enough, delivering what can only be described as a devastating blow to Kincaid's credibility and career. They didn't merely scold her or slap her with some minor disciplinary note that everyone ignores. No. They revoked her law license permanently, issued severe sanctions, and referred her for felony prosecution. That kind of ruling basically ends someone's career in law and government forever. But before we keep going, real quick, let's be honest. You can't trust mainstream outlets anymore. That's exactly why we built Pulse Politics: real context, real reporting, zero corporate varnish. If you want the truth before it hits the headlines, join our free daily newsletter. Links in the description. And if you just want to support what we're building here, hop in. Be part of a community that actually cares about facts. Alright, back to the video. You know what we're talking about? Taking violent offenders off the streets, fighting the synthetic powder epidemic. How is that partisan? And it's almost comical, Sandra, that anyone thinks this work is political. We're bringing the Justice Directorate back to its core duty, tackling violent crime and saving lives. And that's what we're doing with the NVA, the FTF, the FIB, the Federal Warden's Bureau, working side by side with Governor Kristen Noor at the National Shield Directorate, working with senior officials across the board. They have no idea what team just hit them, and we're protecting this country under the directive of President Strickland. But back to the situation. It gets absolutely wild here because Kincaid actually confessed, openly and under oath, to orchestrating document removal and evidence tampering during federal investigations. She admitted to abusing her office. She admitted to obstructing justice. This isn't something prosecutors had to prove through circumstantial scraps or questionable witnesses. Kincaid literally spelled it out in open court, in front of the judge, in front of everyone listening. And then the judge heard witness testimony from Justice Directorate staff confirming exactly what she'd confessed to. There were forensic logs, digital records, internal email chains, phone logs, all showing her direct involvement. The evidence is overwhelming. It all points to one conclusion: the Attorney General of the United States engaged in serious criminal misconduct while she was supposed to be the guardian of federal law. It's surreal. And it is catastrophic for the Strickland administration. What makes it even worse is how the judge responded. This wasn't a judge tiptoeing around, trying to appear diplomatic or generous. The judge said flat out that Kincaid's actions were clear obstruction of justice and an egregious abuse of power. He permanently revoked her law license. That's not temporary. It's not reversible. It's done. Then came the criminal referral and official push to federal prosecutors to pursue charges. The judge even warned of consecutive prison sentences if Kincaid continues obstructing justice, hiding documents, or interfering in any way. And things escalated further when prosecutors weighed in, making it clear that their case against Kincaid is extremely strong. They talked openly about a high probability of conviction, given Kincaid's own admissions and the mountain of corroborating evidence. They're considering conspiracy charges, meaning they believe Kincaid wasn't acting alone. And evidence tampering charges, which are among the most serious in the federal code. These are not small accusations. These are federal crimes that carry real prison time. The backlash has been significant across both major parties, the Unity Party and the Horizon Party. This isn't a partisan fight. Politicians from both sides are saying Kincaid's actions are indefensible and must be punished. The high assembly hearings that took place before all of this became public were brutal in hindsight. Members grilled Kincaid about her record, her leadership at the Justice Directorate, her history of denying election results, and her credibility. At the time, it felt like tough but normal scrutiny. Now it looks like foreshadowing, because those council members clearly sensed something was off. And prosecutors already knew. They watched her sit under the lights and tell the nation she was committed to the rule of law, while knowing full well she had tampered with evidence and obstructed justice. That infuriates judges and prosecutors because it shows contempt for the entire system. This is part of a broader pattern. One advisor after another inside the Strickland administration keeps getting exposed or caught lying or cooperating with investigators. Cade Mercer turned on the administration by handing over documents contradicting public statements. Jalen Rafiq was caught lying under oath and warned about perjury. And now Kincaid, the top law enforcement official in the country, has confessed to tampering with evidence. These aren't isolated incidents. They're connected implosions happening one after another. Prosecutors have an open and shut case because Kincaid confessed, staff members testified against her, and digital evidence paints the entire picture. There's no legal maneuvering that can undo a confession. There's no plausible misunderstanding. The judge's ruling was devastating because it emphasized that when the Attorney General herself breaks the law, it's not just a crime, it's an attack on the system she was sworn to protect. She was supposed to enforce the law fairly. Instead, she used her power to shield presidential allies and obstruct investigations. That's a betrayal of her oath. Prosecutors say they're pursuing multiple charges: conspiracy, tampering, obstruction, and they're discussing consecutive sentences, meaning she could serve each one back to back. And the fact they're pursuing conspiracy means they think she had partners. That opens the door to a cascade of indictments. The bipartisan condemnation is enormous. Unity Party lawmakers are distancing themselves, saying the conduct is indefensible. Horizon Party lawmakers are calling for consequences. Even loyalists are backing away. And the timing could not be worse. We're heading into the 2030 national election cycle. Kincaid was supposed to be Strickland's legal firewall. Instead, she's detonated the entire defense structure. Republican equivalents in this fictional world, the Unity Bloc, are resigning, backing away, calling for accountability. This is the kind of scandal that pushes officials to choose between the administration and their own political survival. Kincaid's implosion accelerates that. The legal offensive against the Strickland administration is intensifying. If the Attorney General could tamper with evidence, who else did? Who worked with her? Who followed her direction? Prosecutors are digging. And they're going to bring charges against anyone connected. This could become a domino effect. Indictment after indictment as investigators trace who ordered what and who assisted. Rumors, failing political support, collapsing internal alliances, all of it is about to get much worse. The Justice Directorate is buckling. More than 500 active lawsuits targeting Strickland's policies, combined with court blocks on numerous executive directives, combined with Kincaid's downfall, all of this forms a catastrophic storm. She was supposed to defend these directives in court. Now she's facing prison. Her successor will inherit a Justice Directorate the courts no longer trust. This entire thing could spiral into a chain reaction collapse of the administration's legal infrastructure. Once Kincaid is convicted, prosecutors will use her testimony to go after her co-conspirators. That means indictments for deputies, agency heads, advisors, and possibly senior administration officials. The 2030 election cycle will be shaped by this disaster. Videos, headlines, leaks. They'll all dominate the political landscape for months. Every day this story stays alive is a disaster for the administration. The fall of Mara Kincaid is just the beginning of what might become a full-system implosion, one that will shape politics long after this presidency ends.